think everybody's here.
Ah, we can start a minute early. All right. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
If not,
No? Okay. If not, I'll accept a motion for the approval of the minutes of March 15th.
I move to approve the minutes, March 15th, 2017.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of March 15th. Any corrections, or you want to take a minute to?
No, go ahead. The minutes that you attached
we're not those.
were not these. They were March 7th.
Ah,
Well, you know,
But,
I didn't want you to read those. Sorry.
and I don't know whether we approved the March 7th minutes at the.
Yes.
7th.
Yeah.
yes, we
Yeah.
did at the
Okay.
last meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
I was getting my vacation cobwebs
Yeah,
out, you know.
okay, there you go. Oh, yeah, there we go. We did, it's right there in these minutes that we accepted them for.
Yeah, no, this is what happened last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look good.
If there's no other questions or additions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Sewer Assessment Management Project. New business.
So, yeah, so we're winding down this project, so I asked Naomi if she would come and just give us an overview of what her thoughts are on the project. We have some maps here just to kind of show you what we ended up with some deliverables, and so if, I guess maybe if we could
Sure.
just kind of take it over.
Sure, thanks. I'm Naomi Johnson with Dufresne Group. So what we have here is basically, this is the finished product in hard copy forms, the report. And there's a lot of stuff that actually ends up being in computer format that Cynthia can use for her capital planning. But essentially what we did was, I came down, I went to the wastewater treatment plant and took an inventory of all the equipment that's there. We also had our survey crew come down and survey all of the manholes and complete inspection forms for all of them. Actually, in the appendix of the report, there's a copy of all, this is a form for every single manhole, and it gives you condition. And we also measure the depth so that we have the elevations of the inverts. And we use that to basically check slopes on the lines. And then we have documentation of the condition of the manholes of what we can actually see. So we did the wastewater treatment plant, we did the collection system, and then we also went to your pump stations and did inventories there and looked at the 2 bridge crossings. We ended up putting all of that information into a database. There's actually, in here, I printed a color copy before I came. But this is basically a schematic of your system. Most of this is the wastewater treatment facility, but I also have an asset in there for each one of the pump stations. I have the collection piping. There's many, many miles of piping. I think it's about, well, I'd have to look to get the correct number, but I grouped it by age. Most of it is from the 1970s, so it's pretty aged, a little bit in the 80s and the 90s. And then a couple of the other buildings down there at the wastewater treatment plant. So that's so we can keep track of the dollar amount for the entire system. So what we do with the asset inventory is for each item, we go in and we assign the original age, we look at the useful life, and that'll calculate what the remaining life is. So we have schedules for replacement. We did cost estimates for each component. So for example, in all that collection piping, we know prices per foot. So we can tell you if you had to replace all of it at once, what would that be? But we actually look at that for the future years. And we apply inflation to come up with those future dollar amounts. So with looking at the consequences of failure for each individual piece, the life cycle of it, and what the reliability of it is, we come up with a risk assessment. And so you have things that are grouped from a low risk to medium to high. And so that helps prioritize when you should be looking at the replacement and how often you should be monitoring them. So the end product is, it's a comprehensive program that Cynthia can use to look at the costs and schedules for replacing things. And then you can use that to do your financial planning as far as how you want to adjust your budget, evaluate potential rate increases, and then plan for, this is actually for a 10-year planning term, but you can adjust it as you go. So that's really the brief overview of what we did for the report. It's in draft form now to be reviewed at the town level. We're ready to make any changes. I have a few notes that I've made as I've gone along in the last month or so of changes that I need to do to update it, but any comments from the town, certainly we will create a final report and give hard copies and electronic as well to the town.
Did I get an electronic copy of the draft?
Yes.
Okay.
I know I gave you the database, so I may not have given you a PDF.
The only reason
actual
because
report.
Chris Hayes wants to see
Okay.
it. Because I think the next step will be him and I will go over
Okay.
it in detail and just see if there's anything that he wants to add. We'll look at the, I don't know if you guys just want to take a quick look at one of the maps. You have to look at both of them, but
So basically, this is, we have the collection system in CAD, AutoCAD, and we also have it in a GIS database. So what you're seeing here is the circles are each manhole with numbering next to them. When you go into the programs, either one of those two programs that I mentioned, you can click on it and you'll see the elevations. You'll see the age of the manhole and what size. Most of them are 4-foot diameter. And on the pipes, the embedded data, you'll see, again, the age, but also the material and the diameter of the pipe, and whether it's a force main or a gravity main. So there's two sheets for the entire system, and you can create different outputs, basically, if you wanted to have it color-coded based on diameter, so you could see where all the 8-inch pipe is. You could do that. Or the same thing, material. Asbestos, cement, you have a lot of, versus the PVC pipe.
And the two bridge crossings are just 91 and right here in the center
Yep.
of town, right?
Correct.
Any big surprises?
I would say not really big surprises. Your collection system is in pretty good shape. There are a few pipes that are at lower than the currently accepted standard for slopes. But there is no big issues with the collection system or the pump stations. The treatment plant does need some work, and probably the priority item is the control building where the office is. I know that when you had an upgrade here, I think it was 8 years ago, there were some items that were identified back then that they were going to be in the project and were deferred.
Right.
You know, like, and it's like, for example, the doors and windows, making it more energy efficient, improving the heating system. Yeah.
yeah, and I think I had kind of been briefing them as we went along, and you know, just really reiterated that, which we all know, this is all expensive, and
Right.
and you know, thank God we did this now because we can do some planning.
Right.
Obviously, some of the bigger things, all these projects, you have to borrow money to get them
Right.
done. But
Yes. And that's a good point. In the report, in the last portion of the report, we talk about what the funding options are, so you have some of the background data. I mean, the programs do change over time, but they're fairly consistent, and usually it's not a big change. So typically, you've got state revolving loan money, and you've got rural development as well.
Right.
And for the wastewater, that is a little bit in flux at the state level. They are offering subsidies, but they don't really tell you how much unless you had a specific program. And the other thing that's important to remember about the asset inventory is that you really have to keep that up to date over time. There may be something where it says, okay, well, that was installed 20 years ago and it's got a 20-year life, so that means we have to replace it. But that's not really going to look at what its actual life is. How well has it been maintained? And if it's been maintained well, you're extending the life. So it's not automatically just replacing because the time frame is up.
yeah. I think one of the things that we will need to talk about in the next, probably the next phase of working with Simons and a contract is, because it's just like any of these projects that we do, the culvert and road inventory, like she said, it has to be kept up.
Right.
And I don't see what they do, even just the smaller stuff, just, if they replace something that, so I would like to see this maybe not completely turned over to them, but a big part of it to be turned over to someone at
Yeah.
the Simon's level, because they're the ones that are managing.
Right.
You know, otherwise it's gonna be a constant, you know, you guys gotta tell me what we're doing and so that I can keep it updated, and it takes a lot of time to keep these things fluid.
Yes.
And I'm assuming that they have the technical expertise to use your data and keep it current electronically.
Yes,
don't
and
they?
so the
I mean,
program that we're using, I mean, I mentioned the AutoCAD and GIS, but the program that has all this information in it with the risks is a checkup program for small systems, and it's a free software through
Yeah.
EPA. And, you know, you do need to get familiar with the program, but it's really just going in and picking an asset, and it's very simple to change dates and status.
And they must do that with
I
their
don't know that they do.
other systems.
I don't
really?
know.
I would-
It's a fairly new program. so-
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would say nationwide in the last maybe 3 years, it's become available, but the whole asset management in the last 2 years has been really being pushed by the state of Vermont. At least on the drinking water side, they're giving you loan forgiveness if you have an asset inventory, and that's what they used for when they started developing the program at state level. It's that same program.
As motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is something, because it's, you know, I love getting these things done. It's just like our hazard mitigation plan and it's all these plans we have, but then just trying to keep them up to date as you do things. I mean, I just realized it a little while ago when we were doing the grant for the Better Back Roads grant for Sand Hill. It's like, I haven't updated the projects that we've done with the other grants. So I did that, you know, and now we need to put some new projects in there, but it's one of the, it has to be kept up with, or it's kind of a waste of time to get it done. So
Yeah,
that's one thing that,
I would think that Simon's, if they're gonna continue to be our
yeah.
contractor into the future, it would be valuable enough for them to have records so
Yeah.
that they would wanna
Yeah,
maintain
so that will be a
those records as
discussion
well.
we'll have. But I will have Chris look over,
And I'll get you an electronic.
if you get me an electronic copy, I'll send that to him, and him and I will take some time to sit down together within the next week and then get back to you
Okay.
with anything that we think should be changed, and I've got to take some time to go into that program and really kind of poke around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether, I just wasn't thinking of this previously throughout your process, but there was a bunch of scoping done, what was that, probably 7 or 8 years ago? They sent a camera through a handful of the lines, and I don't know whether that was data that either would be valuable for you guys to include in this, or just to sort of confirm.
It would be, yeah, I
What
would
do you think?
I would think so, because it's helpful to see what's there, and that's not something that I have looked at. And maybe there may be summary reports as well, but anything that you have for data certainly would be nice to get in there.
I think that was maybe when Simon's first came on.
Right.
Well, we did some for the sidewalk too, the last sidewalk.
Oh,
project.
maybe that's part of what it was too.
Yeah, I remember
But I think there was some early, for the first sidewalk
Yeah, the first
project.
one.
Yeah, because I remember it being sort of around the post office and
Yeah,
West
and they might
Street
have
and
done
stuff
some up
like
here.
that.
They might have done some up here recently
Yeah,
because we had a
also.
problem up that way too, so I'll talk to them about that. I thought maybe we had talked about that, but maybe not.
It might be worth just
No,
Sure.
Yeah.
having that
Yeah.
information, at least referencing it so that it's somebody going through this report will be aware that that information is available
Yes.
elsewhere.
Yep.
I don't know how extensive it is, I mean, it's minimally extensive compared to what you've just done,
Right.
but it would provide some information as to status of those particular.
Right, and there's one component of the program that we didn't get into for this report, which is the O&M, operation and maintenance, and so and that's something that certainly your operating staff can input, but you can also, that would be one thing that you'd want to input, like, this is when we TV'd these lines last.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's going to be, I think, a very helpful tool for our planning going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I say, I think getting everyone on the same page, Simon's, us, and maybe, when things look like they're recommended at their life, that's when, as you said, that things survive longer than they're
Yeah.
listed.
Or a little less.
Or sometimes a little less, right. Right. But I mean, I would hope that, we pick up on that we,
Yeah.
that's sort of Simon's job at that point, to pick up on somebody saying, hey, look, this isn't gonna make it another 5 years.
But also to do the financial planning that makes sense.
That
I mean, to say,
allows us to do the financial planning.
Exactly,
instead of
and then if we can sit on it
Financial
for an
crisis
additional
planning.
X number of years, then.
The old depot pump station, that's not on here.
That's correct.
Because that's gonna get updated.
That's gonna
Right.
get updated, so when that happens, can we get it?
So
Can we
what
add
I
it to
did,
that
what I
map?
did was, let's see how I presented it. I made notes in the asset inventory itself. It's in the program as an
Okay.
asset. And I think I just have it down as, I probably put it in for replacement this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so that means that according to.
Because it's going to get
Right,
replaced this year.
so it
Right.
would show up in the reports as being, potentially needing to be replaced in 20 or more years.
Right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
sounds good.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch. I'll
Okay,
talk to him and
sounds good.
Thank you.
Yep, good night.
So the next item is the impeachment resolution. Presentation of a model resolution from resident request. I'm
Here she
going to
is.
make it,
That's
and you are?
I'm Edie Chamberlain.
Edie Chamberlain, my name is
Do I
Scott
stand
Henry.
up? Yes.
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
you
I don't
can,
stand up.
whatever's most comfortable.
Wherever you wish to
I'm
stand.
not comfortable anywhere. Okay, I saw this on my email. That's one of those things just caught my eye and talked about the town of Richmond, California, which had passed this particular resolution. And so I thought, well, let's look into it. So I tapped up their numbers and stuff. So I'll just read the first part, which you probably already read. It says, passing a model resolution in your community. While the formal impeachment process must be conducted by Congress, local and state governments can play an important role. They can pass resolutions calling on the U.S. House of Representatives to begin the impeachment process. These resolutions can help build public support for impeachment and make representatives understand that their constituents favor starting the impeachment process. Representatives and their staff follow the local political mood, and resolutions in support of impeachment resolutions in their home districts and states may help influence them. So it's a little bit broad. It's supposed to be a grassroots thing, looks like to me. The key point is that you are not asking your local or state government to itself begin an impeachment investigation. Rather, you are asking your local or state government to pass a resolution calling on the U.S. House of Representatives to open an impeachment investigation. So this is a model, and so I read it over and everything. And then a friend of mine printed out, they had it on their website, and she printed it out, and there's a guide, and it says, where should I start? And a question might be whether this is the best place to start or whether it should be the state. But I thought, no, it's supposed to be grassroots, we should start here. But, and I don't know much about this, but
That's all right.
if it
We're on-
passed
we're on
here,
shaky
then we
ground
could go.
here, too.
Sorry?
We're on shaky ground here too. We don't have a lot of
Pretty
experience.
heavy duty. I think something, it was a question of doing something, and I was feeling very helpless, looking at the news and thinking, oh, mackerel, where are we headed here? And then here's this little town saying, we don't like this, and here's a way to get the news out. And then there's a page about getting started and how do I find out whom I should contact and all that. So I did that, and I think I should send a copy of this and a letter to, maybe Peter Welch, start with, and how about
I would
Lay and
suggest a
and-
local
and
delegation
Delegation both.
or at the state level as well to Mike Marucki.
Sorry, I don't
and
hear you.
Jeanette. I'm sorry, that's okay. I would start with Mike Marucki and Jeanette and David Dean as our local representatives
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
See, you could tell me those things.
You know, this is, to me, this really strikes me as the kind of thing that would have come up at the end of town meeting,
Yeah.
where we're, you know, usually
Yeah.
when people present resolutions and whatnot. So it's, and I would have to say that I would think for us as a select board to create a resolution like this, we would be looking for a broader participation,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
of the voters.
Okay.
You know, I mean, remember, you know, we represent the 1,600
You can't
registered
do it.
voters.
No, I don't
and
think, I
it's
didn't,
difficult to speak for sure, you know, for everyone's mind. So with some, I don't know, maybe petition it, you know,
That's what I
something
was
along
thinking
those
too.
lines, you know. But also, that's, you know, one approach to it, get your local, state level people talking about it, being Mike Marucki, Jeanette White, and David Dean are our representatives.
Becca
You know-
Bulland.
Yeah, good.
And Becca Bulland.
Yes, yes,
Our two
yeah.
senators.
so you think I should come bring it to town meeting? In the meantime, maybe send us a copy?
Yeah, and
To these
I
people.
would just get this out in front of as many people as you can, you know,
Okay.
you know, that, start the dialogue, get it, you know, the more people that come to us and say, yes, we would like to see this done, or we would like to see this resolution following something along these lines, the more appropriate it would be for us to respond to it and
Okay.
act on that.
So when you say petition, are you saying petition,
Right, whether
To-
to actually.
yeah, is it a
conduct
petition of
or
just support of this?
Intent or
Or is it a
support.
petition for the town to vote on something like this?
Well,
What is the
and
petition?
I don't know I mean, what Scott's referring to as far as town meeting is concerned is that if you wanted this to be an official article at town meeting, you could either come and ask us to do that, but we've just had town meeting, as you probably
I know, so,
So it's a year away, and this is presumably something you would like
Yeah,
to
I'd like to
continue
get
working
out.
on sooner rather than that.
well, I called these towns, I called 3 towns. Alameda, California, Richmond, California, and Charlotte, Vermont. And the town clerks said, yes, we passed it. We passed it.
In
Charlotte?
Charlotte, it probably was a town
I'm
meeting.
gonna presume that
I
most
think
of
maybe
that.
that one was
Really?
town
Right.
meeting, but I'm not sure whether it was
I
town
mean,
meeting
you
or
know,
not.
realistically,
Might have been not been.
It would have to be town
you
meeting.
can go through, you know,
Yes.
to follow through in a, on a more legal grounds of petitioning, you could, if with a significant enough, number of signatures,
Oh, they
approach it
also
and
have
call for a
signatures.
Special town.
A
a
special
special town
town.
meeting.
Right.
And do that, and create, you know, allow for a special town meeting with a sufficient number of signatures on, you know,
Well,
to.
there is a page on their website for signatures. So I could get those. Everybody I've talked to, all 2 or 3 people that I mentioned to, where do you sign up? You know,
Yeah.
they're
Right,
all ready.
well, that's, yeah.
And I think that as far as, I mean, for example, for town meeting, in order to get something put on as an article, you have to have 85 signatures, I
Right,
believe it is.
yeah, I would.
To have enough signatures to petition to have a special town meeting, I don't know, I'm assuming there's
It's
probably a
percentage,
statutory
you're right, a
cutoff.
percentage of registered voters or
So,
something like that.
this, if, you know, if you want to get that, if you want to go that far with
Well,
it,
I want to go, I can't go too far because I'm old and tired and stuff. But you know,
It seemed like you're doing pretty
I was gonna
well.
say.
and I can get a lot, I think I can get a lot of signatures.
Well,
Right.
what I'm wondering too is, I mean, if you want it to be such as a grassroots type,
I want it really grass.
right, then maybe it's to have some kind of an organizational or informational meeting first, perhaps at the library or something, really put the word out and see if there's, you know, enough people that show up that are willing to help out with it, so that it's not all on your shoulders. If it's grassroots, you want to build that
Well, like,
momentum
yeah.
from amongst, you know, local voters.
And I'm guessing that, as Scott mentioned, our local representatives could probably help you, you know, either in the process of figuring out what the statutory requirements are in order to make something like this happen, or, as Steve pointed out, if you had a public meeting, if you could get one or more of those representatives to be present.
Who are they? Who are they?
I'll get you the
You
names
get
and
them.
numbers, yeah.
Okay.
And they, you know, they're likely to be, well, they're still in session, so they're gonna be busy for a little while longer. Our representatives.
Montpelier.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
I think they're around on Mondays, like at their
Sorry.
home. I think they're in town on Mondays, because 2 of them live in town.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And they would just, on something of this scale, I think they might be able to guide you a little bit more
Yeah.
I'm trying to
accurately.
recall
Certainly
exactly,
guidance.
because wasn't there something of this nature at some point during George Bush's, his
I
first
think it-
term?
But I think it was,
But
I
it's
think it
more
came up at town
statewide,
meeting.
it became, yeah, it did come up at town meeting, and it was,
Did it come up in town meeting?
Yeah,
I
Brad,
think
a number of towns in Vermont were supporting that. So again, that's, you know, approaching our state representatives is a good, you know, to get that out there, that people are talking about this and saying, you know, we'd like to
Okay,
see this
so-
happen.
And then you gather up the replies from the representatives.
See where you
I mean,
get
I
to.
don't know how to pronounce, do an article for town meeting.
Yeah, and I think that Steve's right, though. I think that maybe getting a sense of how the community feels about it, because I think the representatives might say the same thing, is, you know, how are people in Putney feeling about it? So if you could do something maybe at the library
Okay.
or somewhere,
Alright.
and try to get some, you know, some people there, and like you said, you might end up with somebody that can help you. But that will give you a sense of,
You can find somebody
yeah,
who is more civic than I am.
I'd
I
say
mean,
you're
I've
pretty
only been
simple.
here 2 years.
Actually, you're doing the best of what's civic, frankly.
Yeah, but you guys think it's a good idea. I mean,
Well, and I think,
do something.
I think that you would be likely in a town like Putney to find pretty significant
Plenty of
support for
support,
something
yeah.
like this. It's really a question of whether there's enough people who are interested enough in putting some time into it in order
Yeah.
to sort of advance it to the next level. Had you come to us, and I'm not faulting you for not doing this, but had you come to us in January, then it could have been petitioned as an article for town meeting, and it would have been a broader town discussion.
Town meetings, yeah.
You know, the timing just isn't right for that right now,
These people have
obviously.
gotten it together by then. I mean, think that-
Right, no, again, I'm not criticizing that, I'm just saying
No,
it's
but I
just
see
sort of
the timing.
unfortunate
Yeah.
timing.
But I think that there is room for, if there's enough support, to hold a special town meeting to discuss it. I don't know what the
We gotta
legal,
get started.
I don't know what the legal process is to get us to
I
that
don't
point,
either.
but I think that it needs to start with what is the support, and that may be just getting people to sign a petition and talking to people. That may be the way you open up the conversation with people.
Yeah.
Well, they do have that. I can get that printed
Yeah.
out.
That, I mean, certainly as far as getting people talking, you know, having a petition that
Right. and-
people can
and the
look at and read what the
information
statements are,
Yeah.
And the
and
model,
refers
it
to a
doesn't have to
website,
be
et
this
cetera.
model.
No.
Right,
I mean, this is just a suggestion
Yeah.
of
yeah,
how to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you wanna, can you come back in tomorrow and I'll give you the names of the
Yeah,
state
I will.
reps? Okay.
Okay, and grab a couple
Yeah.
couple of these to
Yeah.
show tonight.
I think there's a few left in there. Did you get all? Let me see that box.
Yeah, we take one?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
Well,
well, just take a
take the whole thing. We have copies of them. I have two
I'll
copies.
pass it to Matt anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and,
Thank you.
you know, you have a sympathetic ear, and I hope that, wish you the very best of,
Well, thank you very much.
thank you. All right, we're looking at a sewer allocation request.
I think I might have left one of them.
Number
up here.
1 is Bellows Forestry.
That's one of them, that's, no,
Oh.
but I think I left a copy on the copier.
So this is,
Same thing up.
The first one on there is the old fire station. And I didn't put it in there because she just faxed it to me. And they're asking for, okay, so the old fire station, which was was previously the hair salon, the pizza place, and then the apartments, now is going to be just apartments and the pizza place and the one other commercial business that's there. So they had to get a new wastewater permit.
how many apartments are there now?
I think there's gonna be 3 or 4.
No, how many are there now?
Oh, 2.
Two.
Yeah.
That was 2.
2. So they are asking for an increase in allocation, and they need a total of 1,030 gallons per day for wastewater and for water.
Which represents 4 apartments and the 2 businesses?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm a little confused at the way they did it because what we had allocated to them before was actually more than what they say the existing use is. So that's why I'm just saying, I'm not giving you a number of what they're asking for an increase, I'm giving you what their total allocation
Will be.
will be
If
in
we
the end,
approve
yeah,
this,
if
right.
you approve it. So
And that is how much more than what are we currently?
I think it's like 725, so it's not that much more.
So it's currently 3 ERUs and it would go
Yeah.
to 4 essentially?
Yeah. So they're asking for 1385 is what it is, that's what's on here.
So that's 5,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which makes sense. If it's 2 businesses,
2 businesses and 4, or
so that would seem
3 or
6,
4
but,
apartments, right?
right. Anyway, but this has been engineered.
This has been engineered, this is what,
It
yeah.
requires.
Yeah, this is what it requires.
Okay.
And they've already been approved on the zoning side for,
And our capacity.
The change, yeah.
Situations, not any questions or issues with that. Well,
Make a motion to approve the request for an increase in water allocation for
water and sewer.
water and sewer for crafts, carpentry, and caretaking at 1 Bellows Falls Road.
right,
Second?
all right, it's been moved and seconded for sewer and water allocation for number 1 Bellows Falls Road. What was the name of the business?
Crafts, carpentry, and caretaking.
Okay, crafts, carpentry, and caretaking for an increase in their water and sewer allocation to
1385.
1,385 gallons per day. If there's any question or additions to that? If not, all in favor?
Hang on.
Yeah, sure.
Wastewater and water design flows for the existing and proposed use of the building were calculated using this table. The total calculated design flow for the building results in a flow of 1,820 gallons per day.
Well, that's not what these 2 applications say, and this is what I told her we were gonna vote on. Because she gave me this, and I said, you need to fill this out and tell us exactly what you need per day. And I just got this email to me, so does the 1385 plus the 280 equal what she put on that front sheet?
Possibly. No.
No.
Proposed double occupancy bedrooms, seating, pizza shop, 750, 280, 750.
Because it doesn't even match that. These
That
don't
doesn't-
match that. But I'm going by this.
But this doesn't seem to make sense either. Allocation, total wastewater design flow, 1,820. Allocation requested gallons per day, 1,030.
Right, but that's not what she put on these applications.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that, I mean, if she put a larger number on the application, that's fine, but it doesn't appear, I mean, the total.
But is this total, is this the total of all of these?
I'm not sure why it would be. Find input here. Please just. This project was 3 new one-bedroom apartments for a total of 5 in the building and 25 seats for the existing pizza shop. Water and wastewater design flows for the existing and proposed use of the building were calculated using the state of Vermont wastewater. The total calculated design flow for the building results in a flow of 1,820 gallons
Well,
per
that's not what
day.
she has here.
The increase in building water and wastewater was due to the project. The increase in building water and wastewater use due to the project is 1,030. So the engineering report is implying that they should be increasing it by 1,030. This implies, I
Is
think,
that
from.
1,030? No.
No, but that also, this doesn't sound like an increase to that much. It's an increase, this should be an application for total, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
because it
essentially,
says-
we're giving up the old and doing the
the
new.
new. So the proposed use, she's saying, is 1,385 per day.
And this says 1,820 per day.
All right, so we'll have to,
I could change my motion to approve up to 1,820
All right, why don't you
per
do that
day.
now?
That
Hold on.
sounds, we will accept that amendment. All right, so
thank
the
you.
amount has been amended to,
A total request for 1,820 gallons per day. So I'm saying we would approve up to that amount.
all right. Sounds.
Yeah, what was the 790? Was it 790 that you mentioned?
That was
That's what we currently
Current, okay.
are,
725, wasn't it?
yeah, so this
Oh,
one's
20, that doesn't
been kind of
match
out of
then.
whack for a while anyways, but we just need to get it straight.
All right, and you'll follow through with
Yeah,
with
up to 1,820 you put on
these
the,
folks in their application to clarify that. I see the.
You want this?
Yeah, thank you.
sorry, that was confusing.
So up to 1820. Okay. Second.
You sure?
Yeah, as I did.
All right. If there are no further questions, we will accept that or not. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This,
I need that.
yeah, maybe some copies of that, so read that.
Okay, hopefully this one's not
Clarify that.
confusing.
Right, hopefully this one's correct. All right, there's another allocation, water and sewer allocation for 120 Main Street. For how much what's the change taking place with that building?
A 2-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor and a retail
Retail.
business on the.
And
That's what it's, that's
what
current.
it-
Okay.
Right, and then it's going from so they'll still have the 2-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor, they'll have a small retail space, and then another small apartment
Apartment on the first floor.
So they're going from 411 is the existing to 691 for for water, and 326 to 536 for wastewater. And that was proposed, that was done by Mike Markey. And his paper does match these.
411, existing dry goods store, 90, 41, existing employees, 2-bedroom, 280. New, so it's the same with the addition of 280 additional
Yeah.
for the new bedroom, the new apartment. Okay, I'll make a motion that we, and again, capacity, we're
Yeah.
fine with this as well. I will make a motion that we approve the application for allocation of wastewater, of water and wastewater increased at 120 Main Street in Putney for landowner Will Arnold. Total water volume 691 a day. Total sewer allocation
536.
at 536 per day.
Yeah, second.
All right.
I do have one question though.
Yeah.
Fire away.
And I think you explained this to me before, probably several years ago, but I know a lot of places will, their wastewater is always equal to their water because they assume that what goes in is gonna come out. Why would it be different in this case? Why wouldn't the two be equal?
You know, the way that they're doing, we always thought that too, and that's how we had been, we basically 250 gallons a day is 1 year.
Right.
So, but the formulas that they're using with the state calculations of the different uses, it's not coming up a 1-to-1 ratio.
And I think I think there are a couple factors. One of them is, for example, you water your lawn.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you drink X amount per day.
Yeah.
You know, you do laundry and then hang it outside. Not quite all of it goes back down the
Yeah.
drain, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's just a formula for sort of
Okay,
an
so
average.
yeah, that's maybe what you said
Is my
before, so
Yeah.
before I'm just-
We had assumed on our end, the way that we had been tracking allocations and the way we've been giving out ERUs, that it was a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
But when we started looking closer at what the state was using when they do allocations, and you know, all of these are coming in now with an engineer and then they have their wastewater permit, so we're that's not what we're seeing, and I guess, you know,
Right.
that makes sense to me what he's saying, but.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, I agree, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The one other thing I would say is on this memo from Michael Marquis, it's listed as an address on Western Avenue in Brattleboro, and I don't think
It's not there.
approving, but I don't think that really matters, but just to point it out.
Especially, yeah, the content has the right address.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Any further questions or issues? All right. It's been moved to accept the water and sewer allocations for 120 Main Street. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. What do you have for us?
Well, I just wanted to update you on, I think it was a few months ago, we talked about the fact that the Green Mountain Power bills seem to,
Not be reflected.
we were expecting some savings and we are not seeing the savings we were expecting. So Laura did some investigating on, basically we kind of just narrowed it down to the pump stations because that's where most of our electricity is the treatment plant. And so we narrowed it down to the treatment plant and the pump stations and really looked at those. And the one that really stands out to us is the Landmark pump station. And as an example, did I not give those to you guys? Here's copies. So if you look at the third one down, which is Landmark, if you look at September of 2014, you can see that there was 1,697 kilowatt hours consumed. Then September of 2015, we're up to 2,704. And that was kind of a trend that started, I don't have the comparisons for January to June of 2014, so I kind of started when it looked like it increased. So then you look at October, 2,160, October of the next year, 3,000. So it's around 1,000 kilowatt hours difference for the same month a year later. So that was the one that we really, was the one that showed the biggest differences. The treatment plant, there is some differences, and so I emailed Chris Hayes, and there are some things that they do have some dehumidifiers and supplemental heaters on they have that on the Putney Landing and Depot Road pump stations. So he's.
And they didn't have those
I don't know if they
previous to that time?
didn't or if but he is having them check, he's having Joe check to make sure that they're not running continuously, that they're on some type of thermostat or hemostat control. So, Landmark, the other ones kind of had some explanations. So the treatment facility has supplemental heaters. He's already just decreased the time for the aeration. He said he's hoping that's gonna drop. He thinks that might have something to do with those changes. But the Landmark one is one we really can't get a handle on.
Does that coincide with completion or building of the new science building?
Well, I can't really remember, and I just looked at this today, but
Seems a little early for that.
yeah, I think it is a little
Also-
early, because I think,
I mean, my recollection is that everything in the science building, as far as consumption is concerned, is high efficiency, so.
well, and not only that, when we went through that process, I remember they didn't ask for more allocation, because there wasn't more people that would be added.
Right.
It was just gonna be another structure,
Right.
and, and their water consumption hasn't gone up.
That's what I was
So,
wondering too, yeah, and we know that.
We did look at that.
Okay.
Yes, because that was the first thing was, well, has the water consumption gone up? And if it has, why is that? And it has not.
But at
So,
the treatment plant, these numbers are way more dramatic than these numbers.
yeah, they
I mean,
are.
that's a
He
50% increase in usage.
felt more confident down there that they had a handle. He said it should be dropping back down to 10, and he thought it had something to do with those.
Humidifiers and.
Yeah, and I don't.
Maybe
So,
doors
I mean, dehumidifiers are
yeah.
expensive to
or-
run.
Yeah,
Well, when he comes in to talk to me about this, I'm gonna go through this with him again. But the other thing he said was that, the mobile home park uses the pump station at Landmark. So we're gonna do some checking there as far as did we look at the water for them today? We did, and there was no differences.
I mean, the other thing that he should be checking, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
he's thinking of this, is just that if the pumps themselves are short cycling,
Yeah,
that will
Yeah, so
increase
now
consumption
he-
dramatically,
Right.
going, if they're doing
Yeah.
this as opposed to.
right.
Right.
And then he was
This.
talking maybe a check valve issue. too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's what
Because
I'm,
it just keeps pumping.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So
that
those are the
that
things-
would,
think a toilet that's running.
Yeah.
it just goes and goes and goes.
So those are the things that we're looking at. So we're going to keep a better, one of the things that Laura and I were talking about today, I was like, it's really hard to keep track of the power bills as far as, unless you're looking at the consumption, which we never used to really. Because it would be easy with 1 month it's 500 and the next month it's 800, you'd be like, what the heck? The dollar amount sticks out to you when you're paying it. But we don't get bills, we get a lot of credits on our bills. So.
Now, GMP, I get from GMP for my residents, a weekly,
Right.
monthly,
And-
annual
Yeah.
comparison.
And a comparison.
Yeah, they do
that
the
year
same
upward.
thing, it's
Okay,
just,
okay.
we weren't looking.
You weren't, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't stick out to you
How you
as
doing?
much,
You're
well,
not
and
doing
especially when you get 11 bills. We get 11 different
Right.
bills, and when you, like I said, when you really jumps out if it's a big jump in
Right.
the dollar
Actual
amount.
number.
Right, month to month.
Yeah, so we just know that now and need to keep, we need to start looking at those
Right.
more closely on the charts, because they give you the chart and the
And
comparison
probably,
to the last year
right,
and that
I
kind
mean,
of thing.
exactly, because
Yeah.
as much as anything, it's probably an annual, a month over month, as opposed to, week over week, 1 week you're
Yeah.
gonna use more, you're not,
Yeah.
but month over month, this is a helpful comparison, because
Yeah.
that September at the treatment plant, again, that's a
Yeah.
greater than 50% increase in usage,
Yeah.
that's massive.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're,
so,
that's a lot of kilowatt hours.
Something's
Something's
not
not-
running
yeah.
properly.
Exactly, that's what that was,
It's just a
that's
matter
what it
of
would change to
chasing it
me.
down.
Yeah,
They seem to all happen around the same,
That's what it looks
it's
like.
weird, yeah. So I will, this I just kind of started looking at since I got back from vacation, and I'm gonna make an appointment to talk with Chris about the asset report, and him and I will look at this together.
Point this out on the discrepancies.
Well, the landmark one definitely also coincides with when school starts. in
It
September.
does, and that we
Which
expect.
makes sense.
A bump
That's a
in the average, right, but,
Yeah, and that we expect, it's, yeah,
but again, year over year, Steve, you wouldn't, month over month, yes, you would expect that, because September logically would be more than August, but 2017 wouldn't logically be a whole lot more than, or
2014.
in this case,
yeah, year to
2015
year.
wouldn't logically be a whole lot more than 2014, but.
Especially
but
when the
so-
water usage is not,
Exactly, changed.
But the
Yeah.
whole increase actually for landmark begins 2015 in September, and then it continues on. That's where it begins.
Straight on through from there.
Yeah.
That's
You're
everything,
right.
everything's up after that.
Which to me, again, would indicate short cycling of the pump or some sort of equipment failure that's causing that. But why that
Why
would
this down
coincide
here,
so
yeah.
much with
I mean, he
the
really was, of course, he came back.
surprising that it would.
With the other one?
He says the wastewater treatment facility also has supplemental heaters. I have already decreased the time for the aeration, which, and then it says, hopefully you will see that in the 10,000 range more often. Those are 15 horsepower and do consume a lot of power per the dissolved oxygen required in timer settings. So he's saying the aeration too.
No, and actually interesting, if you look at March of 17 over March of 16 on the treatment plant,
Oh, yeah.
it dropped by more than 50%
Dramatically, yeah.
going in the opposite direction.
Well, and the
So-
other thing he said too, so this kind of makes, if the flows go up, which if the pump's running more here and the flows go up, then the aeration system's gonna run longer too. So, I mean, that seems like a huge number, but it does coincide with when this started to go more too.
Yeah, but again, if you're not using, is that true? Because if you're not actually increasing your volume,
He said if flows go, well, if it keeps pumping, trying to pump the same, oh, I don't know. Yeah, because you're not pumping.
because you're not increasing.
You're not pumping it twice.
You're not
only
pumping
it-
more, you're just pumping it less efficiently.
Yeah, I don't know, unless,
So,
I don't know.
Is there-
But that-
Something's
no-
clearly,
And,
off.
but that March number for the treatment plant is a huge difference when it should,
yeah, seeing it drop back down this year to
Right,
10,000.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right there.
What
That's
happened?
the one that,
What happened in 2016?
unless he had, that reflects the
I
fact
don't
that
know.
he just adjusted it.
The-
But it's not also, we're not month end in March yet, so that might not be a full month.
Well, that was probably, what is March, what is the March bill, would that be?
Oh, it's reflective of.
February.
So it's a
February.
complete billing cycle,
February
it's just not,
Right.
yeah, okay.
There isn't any, storm drains aren't any factor in any of this, are there? Do any of these pumps deal with any stormwater?
They're not supposed to.
Okay.
No, no.
Okay.
I think only if it flowed into.
Anyway.
I'll just
yeah,
ask him too about that aeration, was it running all the time? For some reason?
It's a
Why
huge
did he-
change.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Okay.
just really big.
Or was, right, no,
well, that's what we,
some flapper got stuck somewhere and stayed open.
Exactly.
Well, literally.
And has been
That's-
for a year and a half,
Right.
yeah, I know,
It's
it's
entirely-
certainly possible.
yeah. Hopefully we'll get a handle on that. And just watch the bills more close, because like I said, before it was easy, because you'd get a bill and you'd be like, what the heck, why is this?
Right.
You know, like this one, I think we caught them.
Right.
Because I think it was.
You just,
what-
well,
what
wait
the
up
hell?
and that.
Why is that bill?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's pretty easy to see that that bill probably jumped up pretty, and that was before we had credits.
And why was that?
I can't remember that, there was something that broke down there at that
Yeah.
pump station. So,
Same concept, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So that was that. I did put financial reports in your packet. There's a couple things I just want to go over with them. Everything We are about at 82% after I take out, some of the unbudgeted things we've spent money on that we got reimbursed in a different way, but, so we're at about 82% with both budgets, highway and town, which is, we're 3/4 of the way through. So if we start with the general fund budget, and if you look at page 3, and under employee benefits, the workers' comp is about a couple $1,000s over. But we did have a workers' comp audit a couple weeks ago, and we were told we are getting some money back on our workers' comp, so that should be just about on budget. That will be good. Page 5 is the fire department stuff, which there's really nothing there to show you other than it triggered me to remember that Tom called and said that he thinks he knows he has 2 new recruits, possibly 3.
Good.
So he will be trying to squeeze some money out of this budget for some, he'll try to outfit them as much as he can with what we have, but size problems and there will be some money being spent out of there, but he is at, he's at 76%, so he's right on target. It's just those are expensive when we outfit somebody.
And that's not related to truck equipment. If you look at line item 145.80.83, just down there, with the one that's at 281%.
It will come out of there, that's where we kind of put it. And I'm not really sure why that's like that, I gotta look at that one. I can't remember, what did we buy?
That's what I'm wondering.
I didn't see
I mean,
that
it's
one when
not-
I went through it today.
It's a huge percentage increase. It's also a big monetary number, but not a massive one.
Yeah.
But
I'll email that to you, why that one,
see what
yeah.
the story of that is.
Was that the hose? Isn't it?
Oh,
No,
no,
I don't think
equipment
so.
purchase.
So that was pretty much, nothing else really stood out to me in this. The highway, we are switching over to summer maintenance, general maintenance, April 1st. So if you look at the salaries for winter, we are over a little bit, which doesn't surprise me. But like I said, we'll be switching over April 1st. So Friday, if there's a storm, that will go into the general maintenance.
Because it's still the 31st.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Friday the 31st, Saturday?
Yeah,
Oh,
First,
shoot.
the Saturday's the first,
Oh,
but
shoot, it'll go in here. But the
it's
vehicle
supposed to snow on
fuel,
Saturday too.
vehicle fuel is way down, so there's a savings there. And I did talk to Brian about the trailer for did I tell you that the last time? Yeah, we're gonna squeeze it out of this, probably out of this budget, out of some
And
contracted
he's
service
looking
money.
at used.
He is, he actually went and looked at one, everything, it was like $6,000 or $8,000, I can't remember the number, but he got down there and there was
Totally beat.
no, he said actually, the entire thing was in really good shape except for the frame was cracked.
Oops.
He said if you didn't see that, it looked really good, yeah. So, but he's still looking.
Well done.
Yeah, good. No, and actually, one noticeable nice number on here is that intergovernmental grants category, the increase of 304.
Yeah, so the 175,000 covered the entire amount for the over it, we did.
That was Hickory Ridge.
No,
Oh, no, that was
that's the
Blacktop,
paving,
yeah.
yeah. And then the Hickory Ridge, and I think I reported on that one before, we actually overspent that one by
Right.
26,000, 27,000.
But that's the structures grant.
Yes, that's the
Right,
structures
yeah,
grant. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And hopefully, we will get another, I put in that grant application for the Better Roads project before I went on vacation. And I asked, that was a $20,000 grant, and hopefully that will do the project we want to do up on
That's
Sand
right.
Hill. Yeah, so hopefully, I think that we don't know about that until June, if we get that or not. But other than that, I think we're looking pretty good. The transition to the new town clerk and trying to figure out what we're doing on the bookkeeping side of it. It's going pretty smooth, I would say. They're using the cash receipts program, so any money that comes through now goes directly through cash receipts, and we're getting it into the bank. So we have some dog money already recorded and deposited.
Good.
So that seems to be going pretty well. Anita's been working a lot. She's working on getting some stuff cleaned up and organizing and shredding.
Does she seem to be feeling okay about things?
Yeah,
Good.
she's good.
Good.
Yeah. Seems pretty good. So we're slowly trying to, as things come up that we know will be the bookkeeper, Laura and I are kind of just taking that on and,
For the time being.
yeah, for the time being. I still didn't hear anything from the supervisory union, so I gotta give them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They're in the midst of an audit right now anyway, so I think,
Yeah,
But they should be able to,
make a appointment.
a phone call.
yeah, well,
Frank Rucker would be the one.
Yeah, I know, that's who I left
Yeah.
messages
Huh,
for.
Interesting.
I'll try to call him again tomorrow, but. Yeah, so, other than that, I think things are going pretty smoothly.
Good.
I'm not sure we're gonna
Excuse
get
me.
any more bids on the sidewalk project, but. I don't know what to do.
Well, even if we get another one on, with the people that bid, it would be helpful.
Well, and or
Minimum.
if the one is adjusted to be
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what they'll do. If we only get one in its
sort
hand,
of
I
more
don't know, yeah.
proper, yeah. Mhm. Well, if we only get one, then
Look at them, right,
maybe we
look at them when
wait
they come.
till next year.
Yeah, and I am in the process of getting easement signed for the phase 3.
Mhm.
One is ready to sign the papers. I have a couple appointments set up, so hopefully that will go somewhat smoothly, and if it does, then, then we'll have the green light to get the whole thing done.
That would be nice.
So, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is the next time is start going out of state, like more out of state than what we're,
Looking for bidders.
yeah,
that's a huge shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
it is.
What are you gonna do?
And if people say, keep it local, well, I gotta
Try.
try.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming the out of
Steve,
state,
you want to pass that back?
the out of state contractors are also part of the state bid website, so they're seeing it,
You would think. Yeah.
but they,
Especially somebody out of
people are busy.
Walpole area or,
Yeah.
Hinsdale or.
I did hear back from a couple of contractors that said that they had a lot of work lined up this summer.
Yeah.
So, which is good.
That's, yeah.
It is good. It's not good for us, but it's good.
Well, it would also be an argument if we do end up waiting till next year, it would presumably be an argument to go to bid earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I don't think we were really late in the bidding season.
No, because this is the
But-
time that the contractor said we should go out to bid.
Exactly, but maybe
Now
next
we need to
year.
back it up
if
some
Gives
more.
we
them,
can,
gives
we
them
put it
more
out
time to
and-
pick and choose as well, so.
Yeah.
Let's see, that needs you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right. Any other business? Want to tackle anything on the old list?
Select board goals, you guys want some, that's been on there for,
Survival.
the donated land discuss, we never talked about that at town meeting.
That's right.
That's right.
No, I think there were other issues.
There was so much to talk
Yeah,
about
right.
that day, yeah.
I think a lot of folks were there, but the education issue, it's, the.
I think one of the
It is.
things for the donated land is we really need to have that forestry plan that done. That would be helpful, so that we would know what we have up there, and then when the ideas come in,
Right.
there might be parts of it that we
Hey.
don't wanna do anything with,
If
there
we
might be.
put a for sale sign out there on it, we'll get some reaction, right?
Definitely.
I'll let you put the for sale sign.
For sale by owner.
R.S. Henry Real Estate
No,
Company.
Which
Yeah.
That's an avenue of piracy I have no interest in.
Which elevator do we have inspected?
Fire station.
Oh,
Fire station?
Oh, I didn't,
Yeah.
It's only
Have
elevator.
you
I was gonna say,
ever
not
rode
to
the
me,
elevator in the fire
I
station?
guess I never realized there was one there.
It's in the meeting room.
It's right there, yeah, it's actually right there.
Right. Right there between the stairs and the bathrooms and the boiler room.
I guess I never
Never rode the elevator.
rode it. No, I take the stairs.
There's not much to see on the second floor, so, yeah.
All right,
All right. Do we have any other issues?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're good for the 12th of April?